right, good evening. I'm gonna do this video and then take a nap before my night shift. I wanted to talk about two things that I saw this morning when I was reading. One, I'm still in Genesis. I'm a slow reader, so we might be in Genesis for a bit, but in chapter 37, I'm still reading from my Tree of Life Bible. The title that they give this is Joseph, Favored Son. And so I'm going to start chapter 37, verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his other sons because he was the son of his old age. So he made him a long-sleeved tunic. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak to him in shalom. Now I want to fast forward to chapter 39. The title of this chapter is Joseph Succeeds in Adversity. I'm going to start with verse 1. So now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt. Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh, commander of the bodyguards, brought him from the hand of the, bought him from the hand of the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. But Adonai was with Joseph, so he became a successful man in the house of his master, the Egyptian. His master saw that Adonai was with him, and that Adonai made everything he set his hand to successful. Joseph found favor in his eyes, so he served him as a personal servant, and he made him an overseer of his household. Everything that was his, he entrusted into his hand, that is, into the hand of Joseph. So the word that stuck out to me was saw. And in verse 37, the brothers saw that their dad that loved him more than the other ones. And over here in chapter 39, we see that Potiphar saw that Adonai was with him. Now, there is obviously earthly sight, right? And some of us need some help in that. We have glasses or contacts or whatever. And then there's this spiritual sight, right? And in the earthly way, I feel like, when I think of the brothers, I don't know, yes, they were raised around spirituality. I know they knew, they did probably, did the sacrifices and all those things. And yet what they saw was that their father loved Joseph more. So how did they see that? Well, here, this kind of outright, this gift that was given to the son, this tunic, was a standout piece, right? We know, I think of the musical that I had way before I had ever read the Bible, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, right? He makes him this long sleeve tunic, and it's a standout piece. And, I'm guessing that throughout his life, you could see that maybe Joseph was babied in a different type of way. Maybe he kept him closer, all of the things. But this tunic was the straw that broke the camel's back. This tunic was something that was a visible representation of the love. This gift that the father gave the one son made the other son jealous, and it was easy to spot for them. They took that to be a representation of the love that the father had more towards this one son than the others. Then we look over here in in chapter 39, we see that the master saw that Adonai was with him. How did he see that? It's like everything Joseph touches prospers. Everything he puts his hand to works. Okay, that's pretty crazy. So no matter what this guy does, he's successful. So he's like, you know what? Obviously, Potiphar's Egyptian, so he doesn't necessarily believe in Adonai. He believes in whatever, probably spiritual gods, but he's like, there is favor on your life. Your God is blessing you. And so guess what? I'm going to get in on that. And everything I have, I'm going to put you in charge of everything, because anything you touch just prospers. And I think that, one, this is why we should be asking for discernment, right? Because it might be easier to see things like this when the pace is slower, there's less distraction. But now that we have so much going on, so much distraction, the pace is so much faster, it's harder to see things and to pick up on patterns. So we need to be asking for spiritual discernment, because spiritual discernment is basically like getting a fresh, brand new pair of glasses, and someone's upstairs blowing their nose. Awesome. Is like getting a brand new prescription, clearer lenses, so that we can see things better. Because there might be things that people are showing you. They're showing, this is why they said we will know them by their fruit, because there is fruit from their actions. And we might be thinking, oh, that fruit looks really good. And then we get up close and we're like, oh, that thing is rotten. Or it's not ripe, it's not ready yet. And there's just all sorts of things. And I sometimes feel like, even now in my life, when I look back over things where there were red flags, but maybe I was a little colorblind, and so I was calling reds yellow, proceed with caution, when it was a full-on stop, don't go there. And so regardless of those things, I think that we should all be just very aware and taking in, like, we have all these senses. So I think in this regard, they were using probably their sight, but also that spiritual sight is necessary to develop and to be aware of. And then now there's a fruit fly. So we just need to pay attention to all of these things. And you could be asking to yourself, even the things that you hear, that's information being collected. And I'm such a visual person that even when I hear something, I can picture it in my mind. So I can translate a lot of different things that my senses are picking up on into imagery. And so then I can kind of get a feel, an idea, a vision of what these things are bringing in. And I just am asking you, are there things that you're seeing or that you have seen that you maybe didn't take stock of? Are there patterns that people are showing you that you're dismissing? Is God speaking to you in a certain way, where to go? Like for me, I'm applying to some new jobs and it seems like everything I applied to is not working out. I'm like, man, is God closing that door? Like, is there a different path he's wanting me to go on, since I thought this was it, but everything keeps getting shut? Like, we need to take stock of these things and ask ourselves and ask God for the spiritual discernment, so that we can not only see better, but also interpret what we're seeing. And as we talk about Joseph, we know that one of his gifts was an interpreter of dreams. And this is also like what got him out of his situation, what got him out of prison. And ultimately, Potiphar throws him in prison. Joseph gets out because Pharaoh needs an interpreter, and Joseph gets put into this position to be in charge of all of the things that are Pharaoh. The only thing that was greater than Joseph was Pharaoh because of the seat he held, but Joseph was in charge of everything. So this is like a divine setup for Joseph being in charge of all these things anyway. But the thing that got him out was his interpretation. So he not only dreamed dreams, but he interpreted the dreams. So maybe we all need to be not just seeing, but interpreting what we're seeing. That's information. And then we have to make deductions to see what to do with that information. All right. That's all I got. All right. Have a good one. Bye.